Good-natured in the morning before coffee. Never. Maybe after coffee. Oh boy. So over the years, you've all heard me talk about my involvement with Rotary here on the island. And one of the things Rotary Club of St. Martin got involved with a million moons ago after her, because we don't say her name anymore on the air, just because it was not a fun thing to live through, but was the rebuilding of Sister Regina School, and a whole group of Rotary clubs from around the globe all came together to raise a fair amount of money, and got a global grant from the Rotary International Foundation, um, to help get things back up and running at Sister Marie Lawrence School in Middle Region. I think I said Sister Regina. Shame on me, Sister Marie Lawrence School. And the multipurpose park is up and running, and I know it's well used by folks in the neighborhood. The school is still the old school is still there. I know demolition is, I'm told, imminent, and I know that the rebuilding will begin. I'm very happy to have two guests in the studio this morning, Emma and Lyongo. Lyongo is the architect who designed Sister Marie Lawrence School, and Emma, you are the producer, I think. Is that correct? Good morning.
Yes,
Good
yes.
morning.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you for
morning.
having us.
Well, I always have to talk to ladies first. Sorry, Lyongo. Good morning.
I,
Good
I
morning.
I try to bring that over to her also.
I'm a
That
horrible.
she has to go first.
I'm a horrible flirt. They didn't warn you before you came.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible flirt. But this Friday over at the Caribbean Cinemas, a premiere, a documentary about your work.
Yes, correct. I actually started my career in St. Martin
Oh, cool.
in 1995. Just as a young architect, I moved here
Mhm.
after Lewis, and worked here for 3 years. So that it has been the basis of all my work. As a young architect starting here, I started my company. So the company, what we are celebrating with this documentary is 25 years of Lyongo architecture. And Lyongo architecture started in St. Martin.
And what's the name of the documentary?
The name of the documentary is Kombina, which
Kombina.
means combined. And because if there's one thing that characterizes the Caribbean is that we are able to combine things into something new. If you
Yeah.
listen to our music has.
Where were
has
you born?
I was born in the Netherlands,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I'm combined. I have a Dutch mother,
Yeah.
which is Angela Dekker, which a lot of people know here in St. Martin, that lives in St. Martin. And
Hi, Mom.
yeah, and my father was from Curacao, so I'm a product of both the European and the Caribbean culture, and that's me, and that you see that also in my work and who I am as a person. People, especially in the Netherlands, they ask you what do you feel? Do you feel Curaçaoian or do you feel Dutch? And I say I feel both. Actually, I call three places home, which is Amsterdam, St. Martin, and Curacao. Those three places I call home.
Do you like the cold weather?
No, but it has it has never refrained me from doing anything. But if you ask me if I can choose, I would choose for this nice hot weather and the
I'm
beach.
the same way. I'm the
But,
same way.
yeah.
I'm a huge beach bum.
Yeah.
I'm a huge beach bum. I'm happiest with my feet in the sand.
Yes, definitely.
So, when you think about Caribbean architecture,
Mhm.
what's the one word that comes to mind when you think Caribbean architecture?
Caribbean architecture is about living outdoors. And that's not originally for me. There's a book, Caribbean Style. I think it's more than maybe 40 years old already, and that is where they state that. And but if you look for, I wanted to make contemporary Caribbean architecture,
Mhm.
and then you have very few examples. So what I did during my final thesis, I was searching and searching, and also searched through other arts, and see what makes something Caribbean. And actually, my conclusion back then already was, okay, what I'm gonna do is try to understand the culture and the climate where I work, and try to make spaces where people can do what they want to do in a comfortable way. And that is that. And hopefully, after 50 years, people will say, well, Lyongo made contemporary Caribbean architecture. But I didn't want to have this extreme focus on it, because then you might end up in copying, let's say, for instance, the gingerbread. So you make a horrible design and put gingerbread on it and then say it's Caribbean, or you just put a lot of colors on it. So it's much deeper than that. It's
Yeah.
it's about a certain, it's about feeling, it's about rhythm, it's about just like music.
Well, I think that, like when I look around and I look at buildings that are here,
Yeah.
you see old school traditional Caribbean looking buildings, that were all built out of wood and they all miraculously survive all the bad storms,
Yeah,
which tells us something.
definitely.
And that's also where you see some of the gingerbread kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But then when I think about modern Caribbean architecture, I think we have mastered, in the region what one can do with concrete and make it interesting
Yeah.
and nice and strong all at the same time.
Hmm.
And I know you see a lot of bright whites and colors and blues and things that you wouldn't normally think or that I would normally attribute with Caribbean architecture, but it seems to be kind of the more modern slant of what I'm
Yeah.
observing.
Well, what is important for me to be able to categorize something as being Caribbean, it has to fit the climate.
Yeah.
So if I need a lot of air conditioning to make it comfortable inside, in that sense, you failed. I mean,
Yeah, bingo.
I was a,
Open
I was a
spaces.
teacher at university for 10 years, and I always told students, if you design a car with square wheels, I mean, it might look really cool, but you can't drive it.
Yeah.
And so functionality and adapting to climate is one of the essential parts of architecture. And then specifically in St. Martin and in Seba, you have to also consider the hurricanes. But I always say also the hurricane is like a strong hurricane is like maybe once every 10 years. But you cannot have people living in a bunker for 10 years just for that one day. So it has to be a very comfortable building every day of the year. And then on that specific day, you must be able to transform it that it becomes
Into the
like
bunker.
into the bunker. Yeah. So it's more than just the colors. It's more and it's also about the culture. So if what to make that specific, in the Caribbean, we tend to make less appointments. So if we haven't met in a lot of time and we meet each other on the street or in front of a building, we stop and have a conversation of 10, 20 minutes right there.
Mhm.
So now, if I can provide shade and also that the wind passes by the entrance of a building, like for instance the front square of the hospital we designed in Curacao, then people can have that interaction. So it's about being aware of how people interact. A lot of people in the Caribbean, you don't go into each other's house. You meet each other in the front porch.
Yeah.
So now, if you design a house without a front porch, now
You got a
then
problem.
you have a problem. So it can look really cool, and maybe you even get into the magazines, but you haven't complied to one of the essentials of the Caribbean life.
So I think of my own home, which is 60 years old, but renovated completely, like gut renovation in 2015, 16. And all of the outdoor living spaces are the most used spaces, without a doubt.
Hmm.
With
Exactly.
Without a doubt.
And during my final thesis, that was one of my conclusions. So that we use the outdoor spaces. So can I design a house that is basically full outdoor space, and that you create a certain level of privacy in different areas of the house? So you need more privacy in a bedroom than you need in a living room, and you need more privacy in a bathroom than you need in a bedroom. So those are the, let's say, more experimental things that I've been working with, and trying to grasp that culture, and also trying to grasp the small differences between the islands. I mean, in general, we as human beings all over the world, we need the same things, but to understand a culture and to be able to supply architecture that complies with the culture, you have to see the small differences. And another aspect of it is also not to judge,
Mhm.
but try to understand. And I always say the universal rights of humankind, those are my guidelines. And as long as I stay within those guidelines,
Mhm.
I am willing to explore whatever a client comes with and try to understand that.
I think one of the things that, at least for me, when I went through the building process here, was very much there were certain things that I wanted to take from my upbringing that were very traditional New
Hmm.
England,
Hmm.
if you will,
Hmm.
and but bring them into a Caribbean lifestyle, of living on the beach. And I said, well,
Hmm.
I wanted certain fixtures and things and features that weren't necessarily typical Caribbean, but I wanted the house to also have a very Caribbean feel to it, where you had large open living spaces that were outdoors. So it was an exercise of love. I can
Yeah,
only imagine. And
yeah, and
you transform the way people live their lives
exactly.
and the
And
happiness that goes with it.
I think well, the biggest compliment I can get is when a user of my building, which not always is the client, but sometimes also is the client, that they share with me the pleasance of being in that space. I mean, that is my ultimate goal. It's not. It's nice when colleague architects say, "Well, you did a good job," but what touches me is, for instance, when I get a voice message of a patient of the hospital, and the person tells me it is a place where you can get better, where you can get healthy again. So
Yeah,
the space is like
meets the
helps
purpose. Yeah.
me, so helps in that process of getting better. And then those are the biggest compliments I can get. Or we went to a house, one of the first houses I designed in Curacao. We went back after 25 years, and the people just repainted the house in exact the colors that I had designed the house,
Uh,
and because of really liking the design of the house still after 25 years. So those are big compliments that you get, because I'm not in it to be the star architect. I work hard trying to. We say on our website, architecture for us is about translating social problems
mm,
into space. So trying to solve, giving not that I think that I can solve them, but I can help in the solving of the
the-
social challenges. So make it, for instance, very concrete. You started the show with the Sister Marie Laurent School. When we started with that project, we said the school has to be a community building. It's not just a place for cognitive education. It's a place of formation, transformation, where the people of the neighborhood can go to.
it's
Uh,
so true. It's so true. And even today, where the school is still not, in its state of ruin,
mhm.
people come and foster or spend time around the multi-purpose park that's
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
And
and
it's
yeah,
become the center of the neighborhood.
yeah, and there I should really give a compliment to the Catholic School Board.
Mm.
That especially Tanya also, but all
Love
of them.
Tanya.
Hmm.
They even after so many years, they put a lot of energy in the project and also in what has been realized already, that it's really a place to be. I mean, the plants, you see how they grow, and plants need love, and so they're getting love to grow, and it really is a place, in all the hecticness of the island, and specifically middle region, where you have like a place that a certain rest. So yeah.
Hmm.
So tell me a little bit about the documentary. It premieres this Friday, correct?
Yes.
Caribbean Cinemas,
Yes.
8
8 p.m.
p.m. 8
Yes.
p.m. Tell me what can we expect? How was it hard to produce this, Emma?
Well, we had so everything that we filmed on Curaçao, Bonaire, Sint Maarten, and Seba was filmed in 2 weeks. So
Hmm.
it was quite hectic
Yeah,
to do the whole production in
yeah.
2 weeks. And we had 12 hours of footage by the end of the 2 weeks. And
Wow.
we had to reduce it to 1 hour. So
Yeah.
the film is 1 hour long. So we had to make some tough choices, but the story that Lyongo told about Middle Region and the school, that's one of the stories that we filmed and highlighted in the documentary. And it's one of the many stories about social challenges on the Caribbean islands or the Dutch Caribbean islands, but also a lot of the opportunities and the warm people and
Mm,
the excitement that people have to make a better community for themselves and for others as well.
brilliant.
So it's we started it off by making it really about the architecture, and that became more to the background, and it's more about people and how they experienced.
Well, listen, when you think about architecture, right? It doesn't matter what type of architecture it is. It's about the people that are using the architecture. When I'll never forget when we sold, and I didn't learn this lesson until I was probably in my 40s. I had a home in Connecticut that was in the family for over 60 years, and we decided that we were just going to sell the home. And it it occurred to me, I was kind of depressed that the home, the physical piece of how the house was gone. It wasn't ours anymore. But then I very quickly learned that it wasn't the house. It was the people in the house that made it special.
And the stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
say specifically concerning monuments, which have this story, or let's say on a broader
Mm.
scale, they are carriers of stories, and that's why we have to maintain them because the
And
moment the building.
maintain the stories.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's I was, as I said earlier, I was born in Utrecht in a hospital. It's not a hospital anymore, but still the building is there. It's their apartment. So when I drive by, I can tell my daughters,
I was smart.
yes, and so you have a reason to tell that story,
Mm.
and the same goes about the historical buildings, which are very few left in Sint Maarten, but yeah, so I think I've did a lot of work in maintaining monuments. So I was part of the Monumentenzorg, it's called in Dutch, in Curacao, which I was part of the board for 12 years, and
Mm.
also so it is not just about it's you have to know the past
Mhm.
to be able to create a new future, and that is we spend a lot of time. So any project we start by analyzing the location, so both the physiological qualities of the location, is it a slope, or how does the water run, all those things, but also how did this area historically form, if it's part of the city, was there a building there before, and things like that. So you want to understand, because I see my work as a short moment in a much longer change. There's a lot happened before me and a lot will happen after me. So how can I make sure that the little thing I do, that it fits within that continuum that we have as humankind?
And that's the way it really has to be. If we think of ourselves as caretakers of what we're holding for the next generation,
Exactly.
and the stories that go with it
Yeah.
make it all worth so much more. We'd love everyone to come down and see the documentary this Friday evening, the 7th of February, 8 p.m. Caribbean Cinemas Kombina, and it's an hour long, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
And tickets available at
Caribbean cinemas.
Yeah.
perfect at the cinema itself. So come on down and enjoy this evening. Are you guys here on Wednesday? Are you?
No, we
Oh
are
my
in Seba because we
Oh.
have
Premiere
we
is
have the
on
premiere in
Seba.
Seba.
I was going to invite you to Rotary Club of St. Martin lunch meeting on Wednesday. One of our partners in the global grant for Sister Marie Lawrence School, Gert Jan, is in town, so we're having our meeting on Wednesday with
cool.
him here, and I was going to invite you to come to lunch, but
Yeah, he'll be there. I've understood that he will be at a premiere also.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because he skipped the one in Amsterdam
Yeah.
to be able to be at this one. So
brilliant.
yeah. So no, unfortunately, or well,
Well,
for you
enjoy-
we are in
in-
Seba.
I
Yeah,
love Seba.
Yeah,
what
me
a
t- me
great
too.
what a great little place.
yeah, and it's amazing how much. Yeah, I'm really honored to be able to do so much work in Seba, and I've been working there for nearly 30 years now.
All White Houses, red roof, green trim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't paint it a different color.
Yeah.
You'll get a bill because they
Yeah.
come and repaint it for you.
Yeah.
It's one of the cleanest places I think I've ever been on the planet. It's so beautiful
Mhm.
there.
It's very beautiful, yes, and also the people, they really go for it and try to show that to the world that they can do it,
Wow.
and I really love that attitude because I really did challenging projects there. I mean, the first project I did there was a villa with a swimming pool of 20 meters long that is on columns,
Wow.
on a very steep slope, and I've used that that project even as an example in the Netherlands. Like, hey, a lot is possible.
It's very possible, right?
Yeah.
I love the road.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the road there. That's a engineering marvel
Yeah.
in of itself.
B-
The road that couldn't be built, right?
Yes,
And
exactly.
there you
Exactly.
go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there you go. Thank you for so much for coming in and spending some time with us this morning.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Promise me that when next time you're on the island, you will, whether there's a premiere or not, you know where Island 92 is. You're both welcome to stop in anytime. Would love to sit and talk architecture and buildings and history and the stories that go with it.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for having us today. And also thank you for that invitation. We will make use of it.
Very good. Of course, this Friday night over at Caribbean Cinemas, you can see Kombina, the stories that go with all of the architecture of Lyongo, Juliana. And thank you, Emma. Thank you so much for being part of this. And we'll see you guys soon. It is 10:33 right here in the Northeast Caribbean. My name is Dr. Sock. More Fresh Air in the Morning is on the way. Stick around. New Music Monday is coming up.